This is the prototype of our project. What we need to do is create some functionality to where we can edit the values of the information in this table. So in this prototype, when I click a row in the table, the edit form drops down and the values of the form elements are populated with the values in the clicked on row. This is an edit form, as you can see from the header, and also you can see the button that says edit. Okay, the reason why it needs to be populated with the values is, suppose I only want to make changes in certain values. Okay, if I hit the submit button and they're not populated with those values that are already in there that I did not want to change, then it's going to update the database with empty values, and that's no good. So we need to populate the form with the values before we edit them, so we can make some changes. So for example, I'm going to edit the fat content of the ham and cheese record to 205 and then click edit. Now notice that the fat content has changed, but none of the other values changed because we had populated the values in the form element with the values in the table element when we clicked on the table row. If we did not do that, then we would have had empty values in the other fields that we did not change, and we would have updated the database to give them empty values. So we need to populate the values in our edit form with the values from our table, which is what is in the table, in the MySQL table that we're going to update. But now this is our prototype. Let's go to the project. So what we need to do is create some functionality so that when we click on a row, the edit form will drop down and it will be populated with the data in that row. So let's go to the code and figure this out. In the JavaScript, I pasted the code that I was using in my prototype. What this is a click function. So whenever we click on anything with a class of table cell, which we're going to have to make, we're going to declare some variables. We declare ID, number, name, carbs, fat, protein, sodium, and cholesterol as variables. Remember, these are the fields in our database. So when we click on a table row with a class of table cell, we get the data attributes of that row and store them in a variable. Then we take those values and set them as the value in the inputs of our edit form. Then we make any changes we want to the database and click submit. But we don't have any data attributes in our table rows because we made them in PHP. So what we're going to have to do is go to the PHP block of code and make them. Okay, so this is where we created the table with our select query, and we need to give these table rows the data attributes. Notice that I did give the tr tag a class of table cell. So inside of our tr tag, let's separate these. So this is going to give us space inside our opening tr tag to add some more attributes. So let's go and add echo an attribute. It's called a data attribute. So we're going to make this data attribute a data ID. Okay, let's go take a look at this. Okay, let's take a look at view source. Okay, so notice now that each of our rows has a data ID equal to the ID of the table in our MySQL. So we're populating the data attributes with our values in the table, in our backend table. So now we need to create another data ID for each, a data attribute for each of our fields in our table. So let's go back to the code. Okay, so let's create some more data attributes by copying this, pasting it a few times. Let's separate these with comments to let us know what they are. So we have ID carbs, fat, protein. What else do we have? We have sodium, and so let's call this carbs. For each one of our rows in our table, for each of our fields in our MySQL table, we need a data attribute in our row. So cholesterol and sodium. Okay, so let's go take a look again. And now we have data attributes for each of our rows in the table, and they're equal to the values in our backend MySQL table. You see how convenient that is? But we don't have the name attribute, so we need to go back to the code and create a data attribute, data-name attribute for our name in our field. So let's do that. So now this is going to give us a data-name attribute. Yes, and it's there, but we have a space right here between. This is like we have two different attributes. We want them to be the same one, so we need to take out this space and replace it with an underscore. So we're going to do that with this function. You might want to Google this. It's a string replace. We want to replace space with the underscore. So let's take a look at that. Okay, so now each of our table rows has a data attribute that is equal to the value of our table row in our MySQL. So we're ready to do some editing. Okay, so we need to go to the PHP. So remember when we said if is set $post and then we added the add new? That was our submit button for our add new form. So let's find our edit form. I forget what it's called, but let's do a search for forms and find our edit form, and there it is, update form, and our submit button is edit record. So let's copy this edit record, and up here at the top what we're going to do is right here below this where we created our record, we're going to update our record. So I'm going to leave a comment. So what we need to do is, remember how we did up here when we said if is set post and then we added the add new? That add new was our submit button. But we want to do that the same thing with our edit submit button. So down here we're going to say if is set, and then we have to have our $post and then our submit button, which is copied to the clipboard. Remember when I copy that? So that's edit record. So inside the curly braces is where we're going to write our query. So in the next video we are going to finish up on this update query, the U in CRUD. It's update. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with people. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.